My guest today is a freelance filmmaker and musician, and on top of his solo work, he's also the guitarist for Pet Elephant and Cleverly Detached. Please welcome Antwon Vinnie to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for the intro. This is awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, yeah, it's great to have you on. We were talking a bit about you. You found out about me from the Cole Steve episode that I
Yeah.
did. I saw Pet Elephant right after that, and wanted to have you guys on. And so it's awesome that that we get to sit down and talk. We had a few technical difficulties right before this, but we solved them and we're ready
Yeah.
to go.
Zoom's always giving me trouble. I feel like I'm getting old.
Yeah, and so the first question that I normally ask my guests who come on is, what was your first experience with music like? Like, what made you get
Um,
into it?
yeah, I feel like since I was like a young kid, I've always been exposed to music. I
Mhm.
had uncles, my uncles in Canada were really big guitar players and bass players, drummers. And I think my brother actually like gravitated more toward music when he was like 10 years old. I think I was like 5 at the time. He got his first acoustic guitar for his birthday and he started playing it. And then uh you know how it goes, like you play acoustic guitar and then you start branching up and then he started like playing rock music and joining bands and stuff. And I just remember hearing his like electric guitar just like so loud in the house, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I
Yeah.
wanted to do that. So like I feel like I was just like the old brother that like wanted to do everything his older brother did. So older brother skated, I wanted to skate. Older brother did guitar, I wanted to do guitar. And that was pretty much it. Like when I got my first guitar, I thought it was so sick, but I never really like took it seriously until like only like maybe like 5 years ago, maybe.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
played a lot
Yeah.
of I played a lot of piano as a teenager, but and I started making like beats and stuff. But yeah, that was like that first guitar was like what got me hooked on it.
Yeah. It was a mix of like the younger brother wanting to do what his older brothers do, and like I feel like a lot of people, especially just me, like I don't know how to play guitar at all, but I see like some of my favorite bands and artists play guitar, and I'm like, I want to do that. Like it seems such
It's
a cool
pretty
thing
fun.
to do.
Yeah. It's so
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah. And so like I was trying to learn more about you, do some research for when you were coming on, and I learned that when you were 13 you moved more or less across the country from Sacramento to West Virginia, which is
Yeah.
funny because I basically had the same thing. At 13 I moved from Los Angeles to New York, and I
No
know,
way.
yeah, I know for
That's
me that
so
was like a
cool.
big like formative moment, like really shaped who I am now. So I was just wondering, like, what was that move like for you?
Man, that hit me hard because like you just saying that's like he gets it, you know?
Yeah,
Most
yeah,
people
yeah. No, like
I
that's literally where I like that first year or so that I was in New York, maybe like the second year is like really when I fell in love with like music and music production and stuff like that.
that's wild. Yeah, that sounds a lot like my experience with music too. Yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I was living out here. Skateboarding, doing kid stuff. And I thought like, this was it. Like I'm gonna be here forever. And then my mom met a winemaker. My parents were divorced like my whole childhood, but basically like I had to like move out to West Virginia with her, and that was just like a total hit. Like I was so scared when I was a kid, and I remember I was like, this is
Mhm.
gonna like change my life. Like I was like, this is horrible. Like
Yeah.
and the first 2 years were miserable. I remember it was like super hard. I was super lonely and like I wasn't able to skate. I lived like on a mountain with like dirt roads, like super chunky roads, like if at best, like
Yeah.
I didn't have anywhere to skate. I was pretty alone and it was really depressing. I fell into a huge depression when I was 15. I remember I was like I didn't eat, I didn't sleep. It was like horrible.
Oh wow.
And I feel like that was like the first time I felt like real emotion. Like I'm like, oh shit, like this is like some dark shit I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like I feel like that birthed the artistic expression in me, that whole experience of just being alone for 2 years because I was so alone. I didn't have anyone else to like, spend time with or like share feelings and have fun with. I had to do all of it myself. So I really confided in like making little movies. I learned how to solve Rubik's cubes because I like had nothing to do. And shortly after I like got into music. Um, and I got lucky too because I ended up making some friends, some questionable friends for sure. But yeah, making music, like I just remember that first year of making my first album. Like it was just so I don't know the word, but it was just like empowering, I guess. 'Cause it's like, oh my gosh, like I can like take these ideas I have in my head and like these stories and these sounds I hear and I can like make them real. And
Yeah.
it was like I was hooked, dude. It was crazy.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. And so were you, I mean, I'm curious, like either at that point or even now, if it has changed at all, like are you more of an introvert or an extrovert, do you think?
I'm like both. It's weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
because
I classify myself more as an introvert, definitely. But like, if you're in my like inner circle, if I know you, I'm ready to go out and hang out and things
well,
like that. But like
same, bro.
new
Yeah.
people, I'm all good. I don't initiate much.
Same.
Um,
Yeah, I'm okay at talking to people, but yeah, it's like I can be a little shy at times because like some people are annoying or weird. I don't like to like talk to people I not don't know
yeah.
yet, but once I'm like comfortable with someone,
Oh yeah.
I'm the
I,
life of the
I,
party.
yeah, 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 yeah. And it was a lot of that when I'm like very introverted, just sort of hanging out in my room. And then once I made friends, getting out with them and hanging out with them, and so that helped a lot. And so, if there is someone else like finding that passion for for music, like you said, once you found that, it was sort of over, and it's what you wanted to pursue. If there's someone else like ready to jump into it, either like try to get into guitar, try to start a band, whatever it is, what tips or advice would you give to someone like just starting their music career?
Oh, yeah, I like that. I think for me when I was starting out, I just really didn't care like what people thought. I remember people were telling me like this music sucks. I mean, like to be fair, looking back on it after the stuff I've made now, it kind of does, but or it kind of did suck. But at the time, it was like my everything. So like, I think just
Yeah,
focus on if you someone out there watching this, if you want to do music, just focus on what you want to do. Don't worry about what other people have to say. Just do it because you love it and you want to grow. Because everyone starts somewhere. And it's crazy because looking back on my journey, if I never started and if I was like self-conscious about what people thought, or if I just gave up because I didn't think it sounded good, dude, I would never have like the catalog I have now. It's insane.
yeah.
And just do it
Yeah,
for the
no,
love.
I feel like a lot of like people's favorite bands and artists, there's like somewhere on the internet like early songs or videos of them, and it's like it's exactly the kind of thing that like people in middle school, high school would probably like talk trash about and like say like this is bad. And then just because they stuck with it, just because they wanted to do it and had a passion for it, they're now like huge artists, huge bands and things like
I
that.
know,
So
right?
like
It's because, yeah,
no one starts off being like super good or like radio ready, you know?
oh, no, Ned. I teach guitar and I have to tell this to my kids because they're always so impatient. They just want to be the best guitar, but it's like, dude, it takes
Yeah.
years. Like, you're not gonna get this right away. Like, and if more people understood that, I feel like there'd be a lot more acceptance of like new musicians because yeah, like it's gonna suck until it doesn't. You know, you have to start somewhere.
Well, and that's part of what I really liked about production is like it just seemed a bit quicker to like learn and grasp, like rather
Mhm.
than taking years or months to like learn an instrument and how to play that, like without knowing any instruments. I had taken piano and drum lessons here and there, but like without like playing all these instruments, I can use production to add horns to a song. I can play something like that technically like add a drum kit is beyond my skill level and things like that. And so I that's part of what really drew me into it. And it was just like you didn't have to be as patient waiting years and years to know how to play each and every one of these instruments.
Yeah, that's really cool. I was actually checking out some of your stuff and I saw that you did gravitate more toward like production, which is cool
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's kind of how
definitely.
I started.
Yeah, and it's like now since I'm getting more to I just finished my first year of college for music, and so it's like I'm starting to get some more resources where I'm gonna probably try and do like recording some live instruments and stuff and producing from there rather than like producing from scratch. But yeah, it's production is like so cool to me.
That's
Just
awesome.
like that mixture of like technology and music.
Hey, if you're like me and you're interested in the YouTube or creator space, you should check out The Published Press. The Published Press is a completely free newsletter founded by YouTubers Colin and Samir. They host their own podcast talking to some of YouTube's largest creators. They've edited some of the best content I've seen on YouTube, and now they're sharing their knowledge about the YouTube space with you for free. The Published Press comes out 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, with everything going on with your favorite creators and platforms. And like I said, it's completely free. Just enter your email address to receive the Published Press whenever it comes out, and that's it. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below, sign up to the Published Press, and get all the info you need on the industry.
At some point beyond like the solo stuff you do, when do you make the decision that you want to like be a guitarist for other bands and like be a part of Pet Elephant, be a part of Cleverly Detached?
Actually, that's a really good question because, um, yeah, there's a lot that goes into that. But basically, I was doing the rap stuff for like, it must have been like 8 years because it's 10 years now. Because I just actually released the first album like in its entirety. I never really put it out as a full project. I just kind of
Yeah.
put out little tidbits of it, but I just put it out just for the anniversary. And the rap for me was like all I had, so it got me through a lot of really dark times. And when I moved back here and I went through the multiple sclerosis diagnosis and just everything that came after that, living here and dealing with like some hard stuff. Rap got me through all that. But then there was a point where it wasn't helping me anymore. It kind of was like making me more miserable. There was a lot of stress for me, like that came with like trying to promote myself as a solo artist. I had to do open mics like multiple days a week and just like hours of waiting and like anxiety and performing. Like it got so bad that I was like actually like having really dark thoughts, like the S word thoughts. And uh yeah, just like didn't want to go down that road. And I just felt like this isn't like where I'm supposed to go. So I thought I need to like step away from the rap stuff for a while. So I started like gravitating more toward guitar and just doing it for me. Like just let me just make some recordings.
Yeah.
I don't want to make albums. I don't want to promote myself. I don't want to do shows. Like I'm just gonna make some songs. And then it turned into, oh wait, like what about like guitar? Like I always loved playing guitar and I've always wanted to be in a band, but like I always thought rap was it for me. So I had a friend that I was actually making rap music with, and I remember one day he told me, I'm actually a drummer. Like I really love drums and I've been wanting to play drums in a band for a while. And I'm like, wait, that's crazy, dude. What? Like, because I've been wanting to play guitar for years. That's insane. And it was perfect timing because I was just like wanting to take a break from the rap stuff. I feel like I did everything I wanted to at the time, and it got me through everything I needed it to get me through. And it was time to do like something more fun. And that's where Pet Elephant came in. Pet Elephant was born literally right after I released the Raised album. That was like my third like big album. And and yeah, since then it's been like actually really fun. Like I've enjoyed the Pet Elephant. I've enjoyed Cleverly. Cleverly came from just wanting to do more of it because Pet Elephant was like
Yeah.
I have to self-make the music because Drew had a baby last March. So I was like, oh, like I need to like join another band so I can get my music fix. So it's
Yeah.
been really cool. Like the rock bands have been so much healthier and more positive for me as a person because there's camaraderie and it's not all the weight isn't on my
Is
shoulders.
yeah, it's not all on you. You
Yeah.
have people there that you're working with or making music with that hold some of that responsibility.
Hmm.
Um and so I do want to get into it because you mentioned it there, the multiple sclerosis diagnosis. Like what I mean, if there's people listening who don't know as much about what it is, just giving them some context to that, but also what did that like how did that affect music at all? Was it something that made you question music or like cement that okay, this is what I want to do and this helps my mental state?
Hell yeah. So just to answer the first one, multiple
Yeah.
sclerosis is a disease like probably most people have heard about, but they've never like thought about or like don't know what it is. Like I didn't know what it is. I've heard it. And then once the doctor told me like, oh, you have multiple sclerosis, like I was like, wait, what? Like I remember the first thing I said to them is like, am I gonna die? Like I didn't know what it meant. It was scary.
Anything
Um,
medical sounds scary.
yeah, like those two words sound like what the hell is sclerosis? Like,
And why do I have
but
multiple of them?
yeah, multiple of them. Yeah, no, it just means multiple lesions. That's what it
Yeah,
means.
yeah,
I did a lot of like learning on it the first year. Still learning, but basically, like your immune system is attacking the myelin sheath in your nerve cells, like the little like take like a wire, for example, like this headphone. This is like your the connection between nerve cells, and then just imagine like your immune system is just chewing it up, and then there's just like
mm,
wires hanging out, and the signals just don't get transferred as good. So that first like month before I got diagnosed, my the right half of my body like went completely numb. Like I couldn't feel a thing.
oh wow,
And I remember like getting in a bathtub, and that side felt like it was in hot water, but it felt ice cold. And it was just like weird. And so many like weird things going on, like my vision going double, blurry, and not being able to walk. Like it's weird. And when I got diagnosed, it all made sense. Like everything, like the past like 3 years of like weird symptoms I've been having. Um, and like for me, depression was like the main symptom. Now it's more fatigue. Like it's as the disease has progressed a little more, I'm like always
yeah,
super tired. But I've been able to like work around that. But I was working on an EP right when I got diagnosed. And I remember like the EP had already been written, all the beats were made, all the lyrics were written. I just never recorded it yet. But I remembered like right after that diagnosis, it like lit a fire under my ass. Like I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go record this EP, and like I'm gonna like put my heart and soul into it. And I didn't have a name for it yet, but like just from the energy I brought, I called the EP Hella Hype because I was like, dude, these are like some hype ass vocals, like hype ass
yeah,
beats. Like it was cool because like, yeah, like I spent that first year super depressed and like super unsure of the future, but it really like sparked me creatively, and it sparked me like physically too because I got into rock climbing and I got like super strong. I don't know, like I didn't want to let the disease like stop me from doing the
yeah,
things I've
yeah,
always wanted to do. Um, but yeah, that first year was filled with so much uncertainty. Like, am I gonna be able to like walk in 10 years? Am I gonna be able to skateboard? Am I gonna be able to make music? Am I gonna be able to like do the things I've always wanted to do? And that's partially why it built up to that breaking point in 2022, or 21, I think. I don't remember. I think it was 21, 22. Um, and that's when like things needed to change. And I got on like some medicine for the depression and the fatigue, and it has helped me live a much better life. And I've been learning so much about the disease and myself. Just like every day, I learn something new about myself or how to deal with the illness. It's been a great learning experience. And to be honest, I wouldn't take back the diagnosis because I feel like it's made me appreciate my life and just life in general so much more.
yeah, yeah. Awesome. And it's a weird thing because like obviously no one wants a disease like this or anything like that, but then you hear all these people who have it and they're like, it's made me appreciate life so much more. It's like they do things that like they come to like an epiphany of just like wanting to enjoy everything and live in the moment and whatnot. And so it's like very important that you took the good parts of that and are sort of using that as like motivation to keep going. And it's yeah, I'm sure that was a hard time. Like I'm still stuck on the bathtub story. Like I can't even imagine like half of my body being numb. It
Yeah.
like
Um,
I'm sure that was weird.
I actually made a whole music video about that whole experience.
Hmm.
It's a cinematic music video, so like there's no like lip syncing.
Hmm.
I've never done a project like that, but I wanted to like visually show what it felt like what I was going through. And I think I like did a really good job of everything, like
Awesome.
the fear, the feelings in my body, and like even the aftermath, like because the music video takes place after the diagnosis. and showing like how it affected me. And then it reverts back to the beginning once you see
Okay.
everything. It's really cool. And it shows like me getting medical bills and like me like lying awake at night and just like scared, me like not being able to eat, like all this weird stuff. And then it shows me like getting the procedures and like then you make it, sorry, I stumbled with my words a lot. Then you understand like
That's
what's
fine.
going on.
Yeah. It's what song is that for? Because I love music videos like that like tell a story and aren't just like the artist looking in a camera like rapping or singing. Like I love bands and artists who are like almost separate from the song, but which I'm not saying it is here, but like just like telling its own story. Like you could take away the music and I'm still
Yeah,
like understanding what's going on.
that's the title track to my album Numb.
Okay.
That was the first like magnum opus like project of mine, and it's like to this day it's my most proud project just because like it was the first album that I made after that first ever endeavor into like producing and rapping, and it just
Yeah.
shows like how far I had come, and like it's actually really good
In such a
quality
short
work.
time also. Yeah.
Yeah, so here's like the album cover. It's just the hand dripping.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's really cool because you can see like in the music video like water pouring down my body, and yeah, that's like what it felt. It felt like I was wet all the time, dude. It was so weird. And I'm
Awesome.
actually really proud of that video. Like I
Yeah, awesome.
think like
I will I'll check it out right after we wrap up here.
yeah, I feel like you'll love it if you love the cinematic stuff.
Yeah, awesome.
Are you a music artist trying to find a way to get your music on as many streaming platforms as possible? Then check out DistroKid. DistroKid is a super user-friendly and super easy-to-use service that will make your music available in stores like Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube, Snapchat, everything. Everything you could imagine, it's available. People will even be able to add your songs into their Instagram stories. DistroKid helps you with the distribution, monetization, and promotion of all of your music. Use the link in the description of this video for 7% off any DistroKid package you want. Pick from musician packages designed to help artists get their own music out there, or even get a label package where you can manage up to 100 artists from one profile. So that's more for like managers, labels, and you can also get the musician package that I mentioned earlier, which is more for artists, producers, things like that. And super easy, and you can get 7% off any package right now with the link in the description of this video. So once again, if you're looking for a way to get your music on as many streaming platforms as possible, I'm talking any platform you can think of, get DistroKid and get 7% off right now with the link in the description. Back to the program.
Going back a bit to like when you mentioned like constant open mics, things like that, like trying to promote yourself in a solo artist way, trying to get your name out there. I feel like now it's changed a lot, and with the pandemic to like social media or like doing things online rather than like going to open mics. And I was just curious as to like what you thought of that part of the music industry.
Yeah, I love that question. Personally, I'm like horrible at social media. Like
Yeah, same here.
just just marketing in general, it's tough, man. Like I've always just been like like humble and modest. Like I have trouble like hyping myself up like, yo, like go check out my thing. Like I'm the shit. Like I can't do that. Like I'm just like, here's my art, like go check it out and just hoping people will go look at it. But I mean, like the market is so saturated, like the music industry, you have to really like have some gas to stand out. Like I think of like Philharmonic, for example. Do you know who that is?
I don't think so, no.
He just won the Tiny Desk concert, or not concert, Tiny Desk contest.
I have heard of this
Yeah,
guy. Yeah, I haven't
he's
like
from
listened to him or
Sacramento.
anything, but I've heard of him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's from Sacramento. So like everyone in Sacramento is like super stoked right now. And I remember like I've been like following him for a few years now. And I'm like, dude, this dude's so good. Like he's gonna blow up for sure. Like it takes like that level of like persona and talent to get to that point, you know? And
Yeah.
me personally, like I don't think I'm like at his level, like as far as like talent goes, and just like that raw like musicianship that he radiates. And like I feel like that's what it takes to get to that level. So like me personally, like I just love to do this like as a passion thing. Like I'm not trying to like tour the world. I feel like that helps, but like the social media, like it's tough. You just have to like play the game, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it is a lot of like I think I'm similar to what you were describing. Like I am the sort of guy who like when there's something new, I'll like do an Instagram story and be like, "Hey, this is out. Go check it out." But and that's about it. Like I'm not doing small like post after post on the
Yeah,
same thing and
campaigns,
stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. It's
campaigns.
really like I you got like a post from me and then that's it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of there was some video I saw and I want to get the name right. So if I can't, I don't think I can think of it, but I will like for people watching back or listening back later, I'll like put it on the screen here. But it was this guy who made a video and it was like, I'm an independent artist. I've worked on it for like years, almost a decade at this point. My music like just got put in like an MTV thing and yet still when I like pitch to labels they're like well your social media following isn't like big enough for like warranting signing at this point. And it like one line of that video really stuck with me which was he was like it's so awful that we are no longer musicians, we're content creators who happen to do music. And
You
that
got it.
really
Yeah.
stuck with me and I was like I don't want to do that. No, like it's
Same.
like I feel like what we do this like one post kind of thing, like it works for the artists who are big or have that following. Like my favorite band is 21 Pilots and like between album cycles, they are off the grid. They're not posting anything. You won't see much like public appearances of them. And then everything they do is like when they're promoting an album or going on
Yeah.
tour and stuff like that. And it's like when you're a smaller artist, you can't really do that. Like you have to constantly be doing things and it's annoying, and I feel like there's definitely ways to improve it or change it, but yeah, for now that's just what we're
Yeah.
stuck with. And
Just to
like
like
yeah, yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
just to like feed off what you just said, it's like um music is a business. Like I know you know this, and it's like yeah, the numbers matter so much to like the industry just because they're like, oh, how are we gonna make money off of you? Like what are you gonna give to us? Like it's
Yeah.
just like all a business transaction, and it sucks because like it does take a lot of the art out of it. But yeah, like that's kind of how it goes. It's like pretty brutal.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was oh man, I was about to say something. 21 Pilots, Bubba.
Oh my gosh, I'm
I
so
don't know.
sorry.
No, 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 it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Um, but yeah, no, labels like I really feel like yeah, yes, with changing things, I feel like labels aren't really gonna be like super important in like the pretty near future, probably like
No, I hope
10 years
so.
or something like that. Cause it's like truly other than just like the size of like team and support they're giving you and the money for it, like a lot of the other things that used to come with the benefits of a label are now just accessible to everyone on the internet. Like these collaborations, we have social media where you can just like reach out to artists and ask, radio and interview placements. You can come on podcasts like this and stuff like that. And it's like really other than the like financial backing and just like the big name of a label, I feel like they
Clout.
don't
Yeah.
have much, yeah, and they don't have as much pull as they used to. And so with your music, either the solo stuff or in a band, how are you coming up with songs or ideas? Is it mostly starting on the guitar, or do you have a formula at all, or is it just sort of like what comes naturally?
That's cool. Yeah. I sometimes think about it just for fun. Like, how do I make songs? I think I do follow a process. Usually, I feel like the songs come to me. I don't really like try to force them out. And this is cool. I think I remember you and Cole talking about this, like, where like sometimes you just have to like make song. You have to like grind on, you have to
Yeah.
just do it. I've always had trouble doing that. I do that a lot with guitar, or like, I'm like, all right, I'll just like make some guitar songs and some cool stuff will come out. But the lyrics always have to come from like a place inside of me. Like I have to be feeling something or going through something. With the Pet Elephant album, I struggled so hard to write lyrics. I remember it took longer to release the album just because I like had taken so long to like come up with the words I wanted to say. Because I do guitar and lyrics, vocals in that album, and I wanted to make sure the lyrics were like impactful and meant something and weren't just like, you know, like just me saying
Yeah.
random stuff. Um, so like it was a lot easier with the hip hop because like I would go through these cycles where it's like, all right, like the Numb album just came from that whole first year of the diagnosis. So it was like, all right, I'm feeling all of these feelings. I need to express them like somehow. And like that's what helped. That's how the music helped me like get through life. It like gave me something to put my feelings and my energy into. So like it was really easy for me to like make songs like when I'm going through like hard times. And it's really funny because like I feel like I kind of stopped rap right when I met my girlfriend that I'm with. I've almost been with her 2 years now. And it's like she just brought like something into my life that I was missing, like just a sense of friendship and love. And it's like I haven't made like rap music or like dark music in a long time. And it's I almost feel like the music was a way to like express the dark and lonely feelings inside of me. And since I've been with her, it's like I don't need to do that anymore. So
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff I've been making now has been like happier. And I'm like, oh, I want to make like happy music. I've never been good at making happy music. It's always easier to just make really dark music.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been working on like some acoustic guitar projects right now. Been working on it for the past 2 years, but I'm sitting on like hundreds of riffs, both like acoustic and like electric for band stuff. Um,
Yeah, no, I love that because I'm similar where like I have a bunch of like beats and instrumentals on my computer, and part of the reason why I like producing and like working with us other people is like to put the songwriting on them. I'm like now you can come up with
I bet
lyrics
that's so
because
nice.
because because for me it is similar. It's like I'm such a big sucker for like songs with meaning or like lyrics that are meaningful that like I don't
Same.
want to make something that's like nonsense or that isn't really important. And so it's like trying to find a balance of those, trying to not just sit around and wait for that because I've done that and then like months will go by and I'm like, okay, I've written no new lyrics. That like we probably shouldn't do that. Um, but like finding things like that and I think it just works because like I've heard artists talk about it. Billie Eilish, who I like almost the similar to what you were saying. It was a couple years ago back when she like was getting a bunch of fame from her first album, like When We All Fall Asleep, that like won all the Grammys, and there was a documentary about her and like someone had asked her like why not try to make happier sounding music or things like that, and pretty honestly she was just like because I don't feel happy so I can't make happy music. Like what I'm making is what I feel, and if I don't feel happy I can't
Exactly.
make happy music. And
Oh, yep.
it's so simple and complex at the same time, so it's weird like that, but it is like yeah, I feel like it's important because now, I mean, it's definitely growing to a point where she's making songs that are like definitely coming to like a
Yeah.
I don't even know what word I'm looking for, like almost a happier or like satisfied point where she's
Like
like
just
coming
more
to
mature,
terms
I
with
guess.
things, yeah, yeah, and I'm wondering is there like for Pet Elephant, since it was such a process, like coming up with these lyrics, is there a song from that album that's like a good representation of that, or something that's like this is what we want Pet Elephant to be?
Oh man, yeah. Let me open up the. I just need to see the
Yeah,
set
yeah,
list,
go
so
ahead.
I need to look at the song list so I can just kind of look at them.
Yeah,
Um,
no problem.
but yeah, that was cool what you said about Billy, because like I feel this. I've always felt the same way. Like if I'm not happy, I can't fake it.
Yeah,
Um, okay, so like as far as you mean like songs that encapsulate like where we want to take the band, kind of.
yeah, where you want to take it, or things that like with what you were saying with like songwriting and making it meaningful, something that really shows that
Yeah,
off.
so I love Earliest Dream. It's very like trippy and ethereal, and I talk about things without like actually talking about things. It's kind of strange. I just talk about like remembering the earliest dream I've ever had or I ever remember having.
Mhm.
And just like I'm like, what does that dream mean? Like what's behind that? Or like why did I dream that? And like I'm like going through all these like weird like thoughts and things. Uh but then I love The Torch. It's the opening song of the album because it's just so like deep, like lyrically.
Yeah.
It talks about my relationship with my father and why I started music in the first place. Because I talk about I'm picking the torch up where it was dropped. That just means like my brother was doing like super like heavy like rock and roll projects here in Sacramento, and he got burnt out from it. And he just dropped off. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna pick the torch up where he dropped it, kind of thing.
Yeah. That's
But
awesome.
then, but then there's songs like Greatest of Pets, Cleaver, and Judgment Day that are just like heavy fucking bangers. I don't, can I cuss on here?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
No,
They're just
absolutely.
like, they're like everything I love. Like, I love like just rocking out, headbanging, like just thick, chunky riffs. Like,
Yeah.
those are like the songs. So I feel like Pet Elephant, it's gonna be like a mix between like introspective, um, and heavy. Our bass player brought a lot of like hardcore elements into our album because we were like a perfect little like trio. Like I brought like the rock and roll, the classic rock blues. Drew brought like the new metal, and then Lee, our bass player, brought the hardcore stuff. And all three of us like melded into this Pet Elephant sound, and that's kind of where the album and just our sound came from. But now Lee's not in the band anymore. He acted as a producer for the album in a lot of ways. Like, all right, let's go this route. Let's do this sound.
Yeah.
Super talented musician. And now that he's not in the band anymore, I feel like I with Drew want to take it more of like I don't want to say poppy, but more of just like uh, a what's the word? I have trouble
Commercial.
finding words. Commercial, or just like something that's easy for people to like dance with, I guess. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
something that people like, because like a lot of our stuff is so heavy, I feel like it scares
Something that
people.
even if you're not into like metal or rock, you can still
Yeah.
enjoy it and dance
Yeah.
to it.
So I've been coming up with a lot of like faster riffs, more like catchy riffs, like dancey stuff. Like I want to keep it heavy, but also like make it more appealing. Appealing is the word.
Yeah, there you go.
More appealing to
We got
people
there.
that might be coming to our shows and don't know who we are,
Hmm.
Because I feel like we're so fucking heavy. Like I think it scares people. Like, but we're
I
not as
there
metal. We're in a weird like vein because we're not
yeah, yeah.
heavy, but we're not calm. Like
Yeah, yeah. I have a couple of my friends are really into like pop punk, metal, things like that, and which I was always like fine with, but never really a big fan of. And it is like there have been times where I was like, I'll be listening to something with a friend and they're showing me something, and I'm like, this is all awesome. But a lot of the times it's like the screaming vocals that take me out of it. And I was like, if this was an instrumental, I would love it and I'd be
literally,
playing it and stuff like
yes.
that. And they're like, okay, okay. And that sort of helped calibrate them to like, they've shown me some stuff now that's like not as screaming and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, this is awesome and things like that. And
That's crazy you mentioned that. That's literally what Pet Elephant was because I had no idea like what like these genres were because I just
yeah,
grew up on like like AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, like classic rock, grunge, and like some like other metal, but not like all these different genres. And Andrew and Lee, they had to like kind of like show me these things and
yeah,
like, oh, what do you think about this? And it was like, and I'm like, I don't know, but the guitar sounds sick, but I just can't like listen to that. Like,
yeah,
so
yeah,
then they're like, okay, like let's go back a little bit. How about this? And I'm like, that's a little better. So then like they were able to like show me like all these different types of
yeah,
music, and they
yeah.
helped me build an understanding so I can make this album with them. That's crazy that you mentioned
Yeah,
that.
that's awesome. And so now with Pet Elephant, like where do you see you guys taking this, or like what's your goal with the band?
Yeah, we're not gonna lie, we're in a weird spot. Because we're a two-piece now because we we're not with Lee anymore.
Yeah,
He left the band gracefully to produce other projects. I think he wanted to work in game design. So there's no hard
awesome.
feelings there. We got a other bass player, a young 18-year-old guy. He was in the band for like a couple months, but then he left because he wanted to be in heavier bands. Like again, like we're not heavy enough, we're not chill enough.
But
Like,
yeah,
but yeah, he was cool. He was a really talented bass player as well. But since then, it's like, man, like we're really struggling to find a bass player. So I just bought an octave pedal. I'm like, let me just throw it on the chain and like I'll just like be our bass player on the shows, and it's kind of cool. It's a very White Stripesy kind of sound, like very thick guitar. Like, I like it, but it's kind of like scary too because we just had a show the other day. It was a total flop, and it really kind of bummed me out. Um, they made us play last. We didn't play until midnight, and like
Oh, jeez.
there was no one in the crowd. Like literally, like I think the only
Yeah.
person in our crowd was our filmer. It was a bummer. But yeah, we just stopped mid set. I'm like, bro, like this sucks. But I think I just need to remember that was just that one show. Like we slap when we have good shows. Drew just had his daughter last year. So he's obviously like focused on being the best dad he can be, which I understand. I don't want to take him away from being a dad by like, come
Yeah.
on, let's play shows, let's play shows. At first, I was like, come on, we got to do shows, we got to do shows, we got to practice. And then when he had his kid, I was like, all right, cool, let's chill, let's just do like a show a month, if that. So for me, I just kind of like it's literally what Cole said. Like I resonated so much with that episode just because like I just want people that listen to our stuff. Like I just want a very like humble audience. Like if it's
Yeah.
just 100 monthly listeners on Spotify or whatever, or just like 100 people in town that come to our shows regularly, like that's it. Like that's all I want. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't need to be world famous. I just want people that listen to our stuff because then I mean, like I make all this stuff for me, yes, but it'll just give me an extra like motivator and like just feel like what I'm doing matters to people.
Yeah.
I just want to like leave some kind of mark, and I just want to like bring positivity or just some kind of like good energy to people's lives. And if we can do
And
that with Pet Elephant, that would be sick.
yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, like we each of us have said it so many times this episode, but I feel like we're so similar
Yeah,
because
bro.
like in the same way with my music, like I mentioned 21 Pilots earlier, like after that move to New York, their music was like I already was a fan of them, but that's when I really like got deep into them and it was like heavy hitting. Like they had things that were like really getting me in the feels, really helped me through that. And like similar to what you're saying, like my goal is like I'm making things with how I felt and things that I do truly want to make and things like that. And my goal is like that being that music that helped me through that time, being that for somebody else. Which I feel like would
That's
be
awesome.
like the biggest like success ever. And so to as sort of an opposite from the flop show that you recently have, is there a show that you've played that's like your favorite or you think you just like really crushed at?
Yeah, there's a show on the Pet Elephant YouTube. It's Old Ironsides. I think it's August 8th or something, or like 10th. I don't know. It
Yeah.
was in 2023 and we played so good. We had like all of our homies come out, and like when we played Greatest of Pets, like the second song of the album, like the banger of the shows, there was like
Yeah.
a mosh pit, like the cameraman's in the crowd, like in the mosh pit, and everyone's just like hitting each other, like
Yeah,
jumping on
that's
each other.
awesome.
It's so cool. And I'm like, I watched back the footage. I'm like, dude, like we were killing it. And that's fun. I want people to like have fun, like in the audience. Like I want people to dance and like go crazy. And like I see me and Drew, like I see like hundreds of people in the crowd. I was like,
Yeah.
man, I hope we can get concerts in the park. Like Cole got concerts in the park, which is sick. I'm gonna go to that one. Um, but I was like, dude, I want to like play for like all these people because I know that when people like feel the energy we bring, they're gonna go hard. Like I know it. Like
Yeah.
when there's like
Yeah.
five people in the room, it's like too much for them, you
Yeah,
know?
no, you need the right setting or like the right space
Yeah,
for it. And like
totally.
even if like as someone who's been to like a good number of concerts at this point, it is like as banger of a song as you can get on like streaming or like in a recording, being in like and I'm not saying that you have to do this anytime soon, but hopefully you get there like massive stadium with like speakers blaring it and
Yeah, bro,
like
that
a
energy.
crowd of people chanting it, like it just brings it to a whole nother level that
It
like
does, dude.
you
Yeah.
can't replicate.
Yeah. I feed so
Yeah.
much on the audience too. Like if people aren't feeling it, I'm like my guitar sounds like crap. Like I just don't play good. Like but like when people are like feeling it, I like bring out that showmanship. Like
Yeah.
it's I
Yeah.
feed off the
It
audience.
it motivates, yeah, definitely. And so with Pet Elephant, like what if there's any band or artist that like you got to collaborate with as Pet Elephant, like who would you want to work with?
Oh, yeah. Are you talking like recording or just like doing shows?
Either one.
Either one.
If you have different answers, we can go for both. But like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
if
mean,
if 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 you get this magical opportunity that's like, yo, you guys get a song with like any band or any artist that you want to work
Yeah,
with.
that'd be sick. Um, to be honest, like my music knowledge or just like band knowledge in general is like non-existent. I mean, it's weird too because I'm a music teacher and I teach kids how to play guitar and I'm playing hundreds of songs a week, like
Yeah,
I've learned so many songs, but it almost is like too much for me to handle. I don't remember everything. I've like been exposed to so much music. It's like hard to
yeah,
like
yeah,
retain it all. But like I can definitely answer like who do I want to like have a show with? There's a local band right now in Sacramento. They're called Mastoids. Like I've listened to their albums like so many times just because like their guitar tone is so rich, their bass is so good, the drums are hitting like, and like their lyrical like content is just so good. Like I love those
yeah.
albums, and like I would love to
Awesome.
play a show with them. That would be sick. Um, and as far as like recording goes, I probably couldn't think of one right now. If you ask
Yeah, no
Drew, our
problem.
bass player, he'd give you a good answer, I'm sure.
Yeah. And yeah, and so for in a similar way with like venues, or you mentioned concert in the park earlier, like do you have a bucket list of places that you want to play music at?
um, Yeah, man, like if we could play concerts next year, that would be sick. I want to get a show at Harlow's. That's half coming true though, because we're playing on top of Harlow's, which is a different venue. It's the Starlit
Okay,
Room. So it's like the sub Harlow's. Harlow's is like the club where all the touring acts play. Like
got
if
it.
you think of like any like big rapper, like they'll come if they come to Sacramento, they go to Harlow's. Obviously, like if you have someone like Snoop Dogg or whatever, or like I'm trying to think like who the biggest like artists are. Like they'll probably go to like Golden One Center. That's
Yeah,
like our Madison Square Garden. I don't know like what's the
yeah, yeah.
big arena out there.
Yeah, for New York, it's Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, it's
And
that's
then
like ours.
I go to school in California, and I guess near there, I went to a place at SoFi Stadium, which was insane. Like that's bordering on like too big of a stadium for me. That was crazy. But then
Are
there's also Crypto.com Arena that's out there. It
you in
used to be
California right
Staples
now?
Center.
Or are you
No,
in New
no,
York
right
right now?
right now I'm in New York. I'm here
Okay,
for the
that's what I
summer, but
thought.
I go to school in California.
Oh, cool. Okay, like
Yeah.
online?
No, 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 in person. I'm just back for the summer, for summer
Oh
break.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's summer. Duh. Okay,
Hey,
yeah.
you haven't had to think about that. You're not in school.
I was just taking online classes though. Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah.
I just finished those up. But yeah, like that we finished like in like early May though.
Yeah.
But just to finish off what I was saying before I
Yeah.
forget, yeah, Golden One Center is like the big one. I don't need to play there because we don't have the fan. We're not gonna bring out people there
Yeah.
unless we open. But playing at Harlow's would be sick because like if we were to open a show there, there would already be a huge crowd. Like if we were to
Mhm.
open for like a touring act, that would be solid
It's
because
even, yeah, regardless, sorry to cut you off, but like
it's
even
okay.
even regardless of like number of people in the crowd, I feel like it's something about like physical space. Like if you're in an arena with 500 people,
Yeah,
it
it's
feels
so
empty. You're
it
not
feels
doing
empty because it's
anything.
so
But
big.
if you're in
Yeah.
like a packed area that's like filled to the brim with 500 people, it just brings so much more energy, and
Oh yeah.
it feels like you're crushing it.
Bro, that's my dream. I just want to play for a packed room. I feel like I have just not had any luck. I've
Hmm.
had like good shows with like good turnouts, but it's never
Yeah.
been more than like 40, 50 people at max.
Yeah.
I just want to play for like a, a cluster of people that are like going hard,
Yeah.
that's my
No, and
dream.
I'm sure you'll get there someday. Like I'm like Pet Elephant, it keeps going. If you keep coming out with bangers, as you say, like
Yeah.
it'll get to that point where people are just losing it in the front row. Um, and so going forward, I guess, whether it is Pet Elephant or if you're doing some other solo stuff, what's just like coming next for you, or what are you working on now?
Oh yeah, that's awesome. So you mentioned earlier I'm with Cleverly Detached as well.
Yeah.
I joined that band, as I said, to like supplement my music and get to play more because Pet Elephant was not meeting as regularly. So right now, they released their EP with their previous guitarist. So I'm playing a lot of like the old stuff, like when we do shows. None of the songs I'm playing with them I've written, but now we're like at the point where I'm writing riffs now and we're like ready to start our full like album, right? So like that's gonna
Yeah.
be cool because all the songs that we're gonna make are gonna be like songs that I helped make, you know, and I'm gonna be able to play my riffs finally. So that's probably coming in the next year. Hopefully not like any longer, but in the next year we probably will have an album. Pet Elephant, I think we're starting to write some stuff right now too. Um, I think we're gonna work on a music video. We haven't dropped a music video, even though like I'm a filmmaker. We just haven't been able to do it. It just
Yeah.
hasn't worked out timing wise, but it's a really sick video. Basically like yeah, I won't spoil it too much, but it has to do with like video games and like the video game coming to life. Like it's
Oh,
actually really sick.
awesome.
It's so sick. And for Antwon Vinnie, just like my personal stuff, I'm probably thinking about starting an Antwon Vinnie band, kind of like what Cole Steve has. Like it's like Cole Steve under his name, but he has
Yeah.
like a full band playing his songs. I think I would love to have Antwon Vinnie as a band because a lot of the stuff, like my stuff sounds so sick when you play it with like drums and guitar. Um, I feel like that probably could, you know, gain some traction because a lot of the songs are pretty like catchy and like fun to dance to.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna probably do uh maybe a rock band with that and maybe an acoustic album as well. Gonna drop gonna drop that
Yeah.
hopefully in the
Awesome.
next year. I've been taking so long and I need to just finish it.
Would that be like just like original acoustic songs or songs you've already released in like an acoustic version?
There's a couple that I released. I think there's three that I put out
Okay.
right around when I joined the like when I started Pet Elephant with Drew. But then
Hmm.
there's like I said, there's hundreds of little riffs I've recorded that I just need to like make tracks out of. Um, it's mostly just gonna be like just acoustic guitar, maybe some mild electric with some drums, maybe some
Yeah.
bass too.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Well, the last thing I want to get into before wrapping up and heading out, I guess, is a little segment I do now and then called Know Your Stuff, where I'm gonna play just like snippets of some of the songs you've released and see one if you can name them, and two like if there's anything about the song you want to say, like the process behind it or anything that we didn't get into in the
Oh, I
interview.
love that. That's so cool. I wondered, yeah, if I know my stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
how
gonna
many?
be. I think it's just three songs.
Okay, cool.
Mostly. Let me check the list I have here. Yeah, so I'm gonna do two Antwon Vinnie songs, and then the last one's gonna be Pet Elephant.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, dude. That's such a cool segment. I love that.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. So here's the first one.
Ah, I know that song. Yeah, that's Find Your Way Home.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that song, dude. That song gives me the chills every time I listen to it, bro. That's such a powerful song. That song's about, I don't know if you heard the lyrics, maybe you understood what it was about. It was about
I.
me living in West Virginia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
I'm,
was like I was listening through some of your stuff, and like off the bat when I heard like how much calmer and like more acoustic it was than the other stuff, I was like, okay, this is gonna be a change of pace. This is gonna be something. And then listening to it, yeah, it was awesome.
yeah, I wanted to tell a story through that song without like making it about me. So I made it like there's a story of a man. It's just like an ambiguous person kind of. So it could be
Yeah,
about anyone. I feel like I wanted to bring that sense of relatability into my music because a lot of the stuff is so deep and like personal. Like I don't know if many people can like relate to it. I'm sure there are, but that song is really fun because I talk about like living in West Virginia and like going to sleep to the train. I just remember those nights where like I'd be so depressed, but like that train would just like help me feel so like relax and like not worry so much about my life and where I'm at. And
yeah,
now when I hear trains, like to this day, I live right next to the railroad and it just calms me down so
awesome.
much. And that song's beautiful. It's about like, yeah, just trying to make your way home. And I actually, Drew and I have adapted that as a Pet Elephant song too. We sometimes play that during our shows as like the more like relaxed, happy
Yeah,
song.
the
Yeah,
the
that's
stuff people who aren't into the heavier stuff can get into.
uh-huh. But I'm
Yeah,
glad you chose that one. That's probably one of my favorite, if not like most like meaningful song to me that I've ever made.
awesome, awesome. Yeah, well, I'm glad we got to it in that case. And
Yeah.
that's why I love this segment because like there are songs like this where like the artist or the band loves them, and like we just for whatever reason didn't get to them in the interview.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, here's the next one.
That's cool you picked that one too. That's nuts. Okay. All the ones these past two have to do with Pet Elephant in some way.
Okay.
my drummer Drew made that beat.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, so
awesome.
he made the beat. I'm like, bro, this beat slaps. Like, can I get this for the album? And he's like, hell yeah, dude. And it's the only beat on the album that I didn't make because I make all my own beats. But that one, I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
I need this beat. So I was like, that's the
It
opening
was too
beat.
good to pass up.
Yeah, it's good beat. Um, but that song basically just sets the tone for the Raised album. It's the title track to the album.
Yeah,
And I just kind of talk about like where I've been. Like, I know I say in the song like split right down the middle. Lately, I've been feeling brutal. Like the song is just about being like split from who I am supposed to be and who I feel I am. So I basically just talk
awesome.
about everything that's been going on in life and just leading up to that point as an artist.
Yeah, that's so funny because I know I think I mentioned this earlier, but it reached out to you like as Pet Elephant to come on, and you were interested in coming on as like Antwon Vinnie, but still talking about Pet Elephant, and so it's so funny that those two songs are like sort of a gray area between the two.
They're very gray,
Um,
yeah.
and so this last one is Pet Elephant, which should help, but yeah, this is the last one I have for you.
Yeah, that one's sick. That's ripped apart.
Yeah,
We love playing that one live. It's so heavy. And it has this like very, as Lee described it, a very Alice in Wonderland like little bridge section. It just gets so like trippy and like you're falling into this like black hole of despair. It's like really cool. I
hmm,
love playing that song. But that song is about the multiple sclerosis. Basically having it, living with it, and learning how to adapt to it. The first thing is the first lyric on the song is go ahead, take a piece of my brain. It's probably why they think I'm insane. It's cool because I bring a lot of like the rap kind of stuff into these lyrics.
yeah,
Especially with Greatest of Pets, the song before that, like there's a lot of like rapping and like and that song ripped apart, yeah, it goes super deep into the diagnosis and just living with it, like all my dreams you took from me ripped apart at my seams. um yeah, I really wanted to capture like how like ripped apart I felt, like how scared I was and how dark it was. And it's cool because the guitar really complements that. Complements. I must compliment. It complements the lyrics because it's a very like grindy sound. It's like very like it almost sounds
yeah,
like dubstep, like electronic. Like the guitar is
yeah.
super gritty and like it's cool because it sounds like how it felt, honestly. Like just like
Awesome, which is exactly what you're looking for in
exactly,
music.
yeah.
Like so it works out perfectly.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Those are all the questions I had for you
Dude,
today, and
thank you so
I think it was
much.
a great time. I had so much fun,
Yeah, this
and
was awesome.
yeah, I didn't realize how similar we would be like as both people and like musicians, and so
Yeah, dude,
that's so much fun.
we should definitely stay in touch after this. And
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah,
you're coming back to California?
yeah. I'll be back in late August for
You
school.
said you're in SoCal though, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's
Okay. If I'm ever down there, we can link
it'll be
up.
a trip, but yeah, if one of us is ever at the other, we'll definitely stay in touch.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, awesome. Well, thank you again so much for coming on. And if you want to shout out or promote anything you got going on, Antwon Vinnie, Pet Elephant, anything else, Cleverly Detached, feel free to do it now.
For sure. Before I do that, just huge thanks for having me on, dude. This was fun. Like this
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
like a conversation for me. This was
Yeah,
so much
no,
fun.
literally, and that's what I wanted to be like. Like it's because like a couple of people have told me this, and I feel it most of the time. Like it's obviously weird, just like getting to know each other at the start, and then we start, and then like 20 or 30 minutes in, I literally forget that it's recording or anything. Like
Right?
I'm
That's
just
so
into
cool.
the conversation and stuff like that, which is why I love this because it's like it's not something because I've tried in the past doing just like especially when I was younger doing like typical like teenage like YouTube stuff where I'm like always thinking about like okay I need to film this film that and like this was nice because it's as close as you get to like just turning the cameras on and then literally not touching them till
Yep.
the end.
No editing. Love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, to plug some stuff, I just started a climbing YouTube channel with my girlfriend, and the
Awesome.
algorithm has been showing us a little bit of love. It's the climbing heads. I'm really stoked on that, and it's like I think it's my new like video project that I'm going to be working on for the next couple of years, I think. We got the pet elephant video dropping soon, and Cleverly Detached, I'm sure, is going to be making lots of music in the coming months and years, hopefully. Yeah, I think that's about it. Go check out Antwon Vinnie on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube too. Go check out all my videos. I put a lot of work in these videos, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. And yeah, I think that's all I got.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, yeah, no problem. I'll leave a link to all that down below. And yeah, thank you again so much for coming on. It was great.
Yeah, thanks for having me, dude. I really appreciated this.